Good evening, everybody. I hope you all have been doing well. I know it's been a couple weeks now since I streamed, but yeah, I'm back. I think I'm coming in just a touch loud, so let me do that a little bit. That should be a little better. A little less obnoxiously loud. That's a good question. I've thought about changing it, but I've just kind of never gotten around to it, Ray. I probably should make that change. It's not a bad idea at all, actually. I just kind of have left it because it's one of those things, out of sight, out of mind. It just kind of becomes what it is. But it's not a bad idea to make that changeover. I think I'm old enough now that that's a little more appropriate. So yeah, tonight we're going to be doing a little bit of rubber scaling. We're going to do a little rubber scaling tonight, despite the fact that I am N scale train boy, guy, man, whatever you want. Insert your name here. But we're going to be doing some weathering on this HO Boxcar that I've been working on for a friend. Obviously painted up here for my B&CCS. But we're going to get it weathered so I can send it out to him. But before we get into the project for the night, I've got a couple of show and tell items. I was at the Kingston, New York train show yesterday and made a couple of purchases because, oops, train show. So I went ahead, I picked up this N scale Erie Lackawanna 50-foot box because I realized I don't have any EL. I didn't have any EL in my collection. So I figured it's probably time. It's still the right era. Just pre-Conrail into early Conrail days. I definitely should have some EL in my northeastern system. So I picked up this as a nice Atlas Masterline boxcar. We've got some really nice. Ooh, there we go. Some nice details on it. Some good. Some really nice lettering on there. Unfortunately, this camera is not wanting to focus on it. Let me try giving a blank backdrop and taking it out. Will you focus now? Ah, there we are. Still not quite sure if you can read that on stream, but lots of nice, easily legible stuff. Some great rivet lines and panel lines on the car. A nice etched metal roof walk. Some good stuff. So I'm happy I picked this up. So actually, really great undercarriage detail. Normally when you think of undercarriage detail, you think of Rapido, not necessarily of Atlas Masterline. But I mean, we've got the brake lines and everything. So it's a super nice car. That was well worth the money to pick up. So I was happy I grabbed that. Where did I put the lid for this box? There it is. Make sure to close it up until it's ready for its weathering. It'd stay in the whatever the opposite of the paint shop is. The grime shop, I guess. The weathering warehouse. I picked up this because I thought it was neat. This is a 1970 Penn Central East-West timetable. I've been picking up some timetables recently, thanks to a couple friends of mine who've been willing to sell a couple of me for cheap. So Yeah, I just think they're very neat. So now I've got this one, and then I've got the ones I showed a few weeks back, maybe a month and a half back or so on stream. I can get them out without dumping everything up here. Got LIRR, Penn Central New Haven line, Amtrak timetable from 1980, Amtrak timetable from 81, 81, 83, 82. So I've been kind of getting into collecting timetables for my modeling era. So that way when I have a layout big enough to actually run passenger jobs, I can model them accurately. I realized my gain was way up. Hey, what's up, Brandon? Oh, this song is loud. What the heck? There, that's a little better. Indeed, funny, I'm sure. Yeah, go enjoy Monsters, Inc. It's always a great time. Hope you guys enjoyed bouldering yesterday. Sorry I missed you, but glad to hear you guys had a good time on your hike and so on and so forth. I had a great time at the train show, which brings me to the third item that I picked up at the train show, which is a New Haven Jeep 9, which I've been looking for one of these for a good long while, and this, I mean, $65 for this was a great price. Hey, Sean. As I'm showing off this nice New Haven Jeep 9 here, I did see your email. I just saw it tonight, and I responded to you, Sean. For some reason, your email went to my spam folder, so I didn't see it until today because I thought to check it. But I'll be getting back to you tomorrow, Sean. So don't worry about that. And next train show on the radar, I'm not actually sure. The next one that I go to might be the RPM in Springfield, the New England RPM, which is, I think, in June. That's over in West Springfield again. Or actually, I think that's in Springfield proper, over in Massachusetts. But in between now and then, I've got 2 ops weekends that I'm gearing up for, which are going to be a lot of fun. I've got Ops Till You Drop up in Syracuse. And then the week after that, I'll have Island Ops down on Long Island, which will be seven model railroads across 2 weekends, which will be a very fun time. Hey, you know, up to you. Enjoy Monsters Inc., Brandon. That's what it is. End of May, beginning of June. Thank you, Ray. I should have just asked you. I was like, I know Ray has the dates, I'm sure. So, but yeah, I'm hoping to actually get to the RPM this year, because it's something I've been meaning to do for a while now, but I've just never really gotten around to it, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Hey, Paul, good stream tonight, man. I particularly enjoyed the speed ops at the end you had. But yeah, so that I had a good time at the train show on Saturday or Sunday, whatever day it was, yesterday, who knows when it was. Also, where did I just put my Amtrak schedule that I picked up? Is it up here? Did I put it away with my other schedules? Or, no, my Amtrak. Yeah, I did. My Penn Central timetable. There we go. I put that back away. Of course, Paul. Put that back away in its sleeve. So that way I can keep it nice and protected. But now we're going to get to work on this this car here. So last week, obviously, I didn't do a stream because I was busy being on the what's it called? NERX virtual convention, sharing my techniques for normal weathering. So since I kind of showcased all my paint weathering skills last week, I figured let's jump back and give powders a go again. It's been a little while since I've done an all powders paint weathering job, and since the guy whose layout this car is going to, he models the mid to late 60s, so not quite as beaten up as early 70s. So we're doing more grime than we are rust and grit. So that is kind of the plan here for this 50-foot boxcar. Yeah, so let me... There we go. That sounds good. Thank you. Yeah, I think I did see that, Ray, and I really do appreciate that. I think he was coming from a place of genuinely like trying to help out, but I do really appreciate you. I do really appreciate you jumping in and supporting me. And I'm glad that you enjoyed it, because it was a lot of fun to put together and produce and everything. So I had a great time with it. Alright, so for this car, there it is. That's the pastel stick I was looking for. We're going to start off with the pastel stick. I'm just going to shave down my white pastel stick because I still don't have a good white weathering powder. I haven't picked one up yet. So for now, I just make my own by shaving down the white pastel stick. And yes, absolutely, Ray. Absolutely. And it's definitely an important distinction to make, which is why I really appreciate you chiming in and offering to help out, you know. Exactly. So I do really appreciate you chiming in and get, you know, it means a lot to me that to see people you know, sticking up for me. So I greatly appreciate it. And like I said, I'm just glad that you and a lot of the other people out there seem to enjoy. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from it. You know, people saying, "Hey, it was a great clinic." So makes me happy. Yes, this is an HO boxcar, indeed. We are doing a little rubber scaling tonight, as Heath likes to call it. Yeah, Sammy's got a good perspective there. I agree. I agree. I don't know what these songs are. I just kind of found something new for tonight for the music. They're very loud for me, and I don't know if that's just my volume is up weird or what the deal is, but yeah, I was gonna send you up some. I've got this one. This is for my friend Miles, who's Interurban Era here on YouTube. He is making me an N-scale car of his Alta California Railroad. So I figured I'd make him an HO Scale boxcar of my B&CCS and shoot it back his way as part of my thank you. So I'm making one for him. I'm making one for my buddy Corey at R's Trains. Here on YouTube, he's a mixture of O scale and HO scale stuff. So as well as he's getting into some American Flyer stuff, I think too. He's a great guy. He's actually a conductor on the SCNH, Saratoga, Corinth, and Hudson. So great guy. I got these decals. I got them from Bill at PDC. I've reached out to Highball, but I don't know if I was just not, I didn't have the right email address or whatever, but I couldn't seem to get in touch with Jim. And I was doing this car specifically, well, one specifically to send to Miles, but also as a tips and tricks for NERX. Unfortunately, with the delay in getting the decals in, it didn't make it into NERX, but they're gonna use it for an NMRAX tips and tricks sometime in the near future. But I do want to get some decals up with Jim. I got to figure out the right way to contact him. I don't know if it was just a busy time for him or if I had the wrong email addresses or what the deal was, but I'll have to figure that out, because I do want to get some decals up on Highball, because then anyone who wants them, they're available. It's just as simple as linking them to the web page for them. So yeah, so I'm just kind of adding some white powder here to fade the paint just lightly, ever so slightly. But yeah, so this is Bill Berlinger's pdc.ca for the decals. I think my favorite part about this decal set and the work that I did for it, I have a favorite part and a least favorite part. My favorite part, well, actually, let's start with the least favorite part, then we can go on. My least favorite part is that I screwed up the logo design. This outer ring of maroon here, which is basically just clear on the decal, so you see through to the paint below. The outer ring there is supposed to be the orange, but I accidentally took that layer out before sending them. And then the inner layer is just supposed to be the maroon showing through. But, hey, I would not be opposed to that, Paul. Or as Heath likes to call you now, Lance. That'd be great. But so that's my least favorite part, is that I just screwed up this set. So I'm gonna have to, when I do future sets, I'm gonna have to make sure I get that right. But my favorite part is I got two numbers here. I got two numbers from Bill. I got 22,405 and 22,412. Just because that's just two random numbers I pulled out of a hat, basically. But I'm trying to see if I can. It's really hard to see without the decal on a car. But if you look very closely at the ACI label on here, you may notice that the ACI label between the one that I have, the set that I have here for 22,412, is different than the one I have for 22,405. And that's because, being the madman that I am, I decided that I wanted to design accurate ACI labels for these cars. So this, if you had an actual ACI label scanner like they did back in the day, and you scanned this barcode, it would read a Boxcar for the B&CCS, because I just made up a 3-digit code. Basically, how it works is from bottom to top. It's start, it's car type, it's 3 digits for the three digits for the railroad, 6 digits for the car number, a stop, and then a checksum at the top. So if this had been read, it would have read, because I made up a 3-digit code for the B&CCS. So it would read as a Boxcar for the B&CCS, number 022405, stop, checksum. Why did I do that? Because I figured, why not? If I'm putting in the effort to design the all the rest of the graphics and everything, I can put in the effort to design 14 little rectangles. So yeah, that was a lot of fun to work on. Don't think no cars. Yeah, I don't know. It's I think it depends on, because I know there are a lot of modelers that just kind of run things for fun. I don't know that any ATLP car would get run as part of an op session, or at least not like a super in-depth op session. Although they may, a layout owner may throw it in every now and again as a something for fun. And honestly, if it's for a modern, if you put it on a modern car like you did with your 50-foot high cube for the interchange tour, there are some pretty wacky. There's some pretty wacky actual cars out there on the railroad. Things like the butterfly, the Save the Butterflies car. That was KCS. I think it was KCS and CP worked together on it. I know, or NS and CP. That's what it was. I think. I don't know. Maybe it's KCS. I don't remember. But they did. That's the reason I know about it is because Microtrains released a run of that car, but that's based on an actual prototype car that was basically a fundraiser car for to fund a butterfly reserve down in Mexico. So there's some pretty wacky cars out there on the real railroads that are out there earning money for the railroad. So, you know, like they say, there's a prototype for everything. But yeah, not a ton of people would. Not a ton of people, I think, would be super interested in running it. But I know, I honestly would probably get it, because that'd be a fun thing to run at a train show. Would be novelty cars like that. I have some novelty cars that I run at shows. So. Absolutely, Paul. Heath will run anything as long as it's 40 feet long. Yeah, absolutely, Heath. Ray. Oh my gosh. Can you tell that I'm tired? It's been a long weekend here. Some stuff happening in the family, but everything's okay. We're all good. Everything's fine. Just been a lot, so but it's fun to get in here and do some streaming, so I am okay with that. But yes, that makes a ton of sense, Ray. You want to keep the focus on the interchange tour, because it's honestly a super awesome thing that you decided to do with that. I was very proud to be the second recipient of the N scale car. I hope you enjoyed the photos I took of it on my layout out in the sunlight and everything. Now that it's at least ostensibly starting to warm up, I do want to take my layout back out and take some more photos of it in the daylight. But yeah, exactly, Paul. I like I said, I'd buy one and run it at shows all the time. Because sometimes I'll run my prototypical weathered freight trains and stuff like that. But this year at Amherst, I just ran fun stuff for the most part. I ran my 20th Century Limited, pulled by a unstreamlined Hudson, which is not prototypical at all, but fun. And I ran a 20-car Rainbow Era Amtrak train, which is not based on any prototype car or anything like that, but also fun. Yeah. And if you did just like a limited run kind of a thing, even like, I think I don't remember what it is, but there's some number that like Atlas will let you produce. I think it's like 50 or 100 cars or something like that. And if you have those as like part of merch or something like that, that way it's just a very limited run kind of a thing, and you sell them off as you sell them off. But I don't know what I'm talking about. I've never really looked into it. Yeah, there you go. I think I think if I get some more eyes on this channel, and when I really start to dig into some B&CCS stuff, like I'm doing with the box cars here, and I want to start making some more B&CCS rolling stock. If I get enough eyes on the channel here, I'll start talking to Chris Palmieri, because I showed him some of my stuff at Amherst, and he said, "Hey, if you think you can get enough eyes on it, I'd be more than happy to work with you at some point." So that's kind of a goal for me eventually, because I think that'd be pretty neat. But I gotta get a good number of eyes, and that way I can make sure that it would sell enough for him to have it be worthwhile for him to produce. Because for someone like him who's running it as a business, you kind of got to make that money back plus some profit. I heard his first run of N-scale cars isn't doing amazingly, but I think part of the problem is I think he missed the market just a little bit with the prototype car he chose. Uh-huh. That you are, Paul. Absolutely. But yeah, so I think Chris missed the mark just a little bit on the N-scale prototype car, because while it's great for people like Heath, there's actually in N-scale not a ton of people modeling the transition era anymore. Part of that is the relative lack of steam locomotives in N-scale compared to HO. But a lot of them N-scale modelers are modeling either the 70s, 80s, or the 2000s. Yeah, if you had done 50-foot high cubes, I think actually, I know you're just saying that because it's you, Ray, but I think if he had done 50-foot high cubes, they honestly may have sold better. Because it's a more modern prototype, and a lot of N-scale modelers, especially nowadays, a lot of N-scale modelers are focusing more on more modern prototypes. At least in what I see, and the people that I meet, and the people I talk to. That's what I notice. There are a lot of really great transition era or 50s era, 60s era layouts out there. One of the really great ones being Doug Diedrich's Great Northern Kalispell division up in the Albany area, which Ray, oh my gosh, I did it again. Ray, I've gotta get you in touch with Doug, because I think he could be a very interesting interview, because he lives, upstate New York, but he's modeling the 1950s out in Montana. And I don't know what the story behind that is, but I think it could be an interesting story. I'm not sure, so might be someone worth looking into. I might see if I can get the two of you in touch. But his layout is phenomenal. Like I said, he models I think he models like the late 50s, Great Northern, through the Kalispell division across Montana. So you've got Glacier National Park, you've got Kalispell, you've got Whitefish Yard. He's done some really great modeling work with Whitefish Station and the Glacier, I think it's the Glacier National Park East Side Station, where he's just scratch built these stations that are super iconic and done an amazing job on them. But his layout is a blast to run. It operates really well. He's got passenger trains running across it, freight trains running across it, switchers, the works. It is a full operating session when you go there. But But he's like one of the only N scale layouts around that I know of that's really modeling that transition era. At least the ones in this area that I know about, and the ones that I have a personal connection to. Yes, exactly, Paul. Exactly that same line. Although slightly less distance. Slightly less distance, but slightly more space between the towns. And I think he's got a couple more towns in there than Mark has. He was in, I think it was like the May or April model railroader from last year. With his layout. And he was I think his layout tour was part of NERX last year, I think. But his layout is phenomenal. It is a great running layout, especially for N scale, because N scale sometimes can be finicky, but his track work is perfect. His scenery work is amazing, and just generally it's a great layout. Yeah, I'm pretty sure his layout tour was part of NERX last year. I know I have at least three videos up on his layout on my channel. So if you feel so inclined to check it out, they're on my operating sessions playlist, operating sessions / visited layouts. Yeah, Paul, it's a great time. If you ever find yourself looking out this direction, coming out this direction or anything, out east here, let me know if you're gonna be, or if you could be in the Albany area for a little while, like a day. I could probably find a time for you to get to Doug's, because I'm on a pretty good basis with Doug, where he's basically said to me, hey, if you're ever up here, let me know. I'll scrounge up some people and get a session going. So, because he is, or I don't know if he is this year. I know last year and the year before he was the assistant superintendent for the Hudson Berkshire division. So he's got a lot of people like on standby that he can kind of just call up and be like, hey, you want to run the layout today? Sorry, distracted there for a minute. Alright, so that car is pretty nicely faded, I'd say. Just want to kind of even it out a little bit. Yeah, honestly, Paul, I'm kind of sad at how few really good operating N-scale layouts there are out there. Because it's, yeah, well, I think because Doug is the guy who was coordinating that. I think the plan is still to do it. It's just become a much smaller thing. And it's become like an invite, mainly an invite thing. So, I got to touch base with Doug, because I wanted to talk to him and see if it was happening this year. I know last year it wasn't happening because Doug had just got really busy. But yeah. Alright, that's good. I'm happy with that. Alright, so now we are going to jump to my Bragdon powders. But yeah, I really hope that they're setting up Oktoberfest again. Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that he definitely didn't do it last year, but I was talking with him, and he said that it was purely because he had stuff come up. But it may be canned. so I'm not sure. I don't want to speak out of turn. So, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Dirt. Alright, let's get... What brush? This brush. We'll use this brush. This will be my dirt brush. Let's get some dirt on those trucks. Yeah, there's a lot of really great layouts in the Albany area. So, regardless of if it's part of an operating weekend or not, we got to get you out there sometime, Paul. We've got, let's see, what are some great layouts that I know? Of course, obviously the big one was always the NEB&W, and that's a situation that I'm not going to get into right now because I could go on forever about that. But I'm again not wanting to speak out of turn since I'm not directly involved with that anymore. Oh, of course, Paul. I've got to get out there this October for sure. But so you had Doug's layout. Obviously, the big one always used to be the NEB&W, and that hasn't been around for 6 years now. You have Jack's layout, the junior out of secondary, which I was at a couple weekends ago and had a great time. I was actually chatting with Doug while there. Like I said, Doug's layout. You've got oh, what's his name? Oh, the name is my brain's drawing a blank. Why? Oh, man. Well, I know actually, I don't know if it's around anymore because I haven't been there since 2019. But back in 2019, at least, you had John McBride's G Scale CP&I. You have at least 2 or 3 layouts in the past 5 years that the owners have passed away, unfortunately. Some really good ones. That's his name, Kevin Sermon. Kevin Sermon, who's an MMR. He has a really amazing New York and Long Branch railroad from Jersey City to Long Branch. And that one is a beautiful layout. And then there's some layouts that I haven't been to in the area up there. Those are just the ones that I know of because I've been to for op sessions when I was with the club at school. So. And of course you've got the Adirondack Live steamers. 4 in a year, you know. Yeah, they've had a number of layouts up there in the past. I don't know if the last year or the past couple years, but it's been a rough time up there for the community. A number of layouts where owners have passed away, or owners have moved away, or owners have gotten ill. So. Heath will be getting to know one of the guys up there because he's gonna have Greg Whittle at his layout for Island Ops, and Greg is a friend of mine from up in the Albany area. He is going to love Heath's layout, I'll tell you that, because Greg is a massive fan of sitting in a yard and fiddling. So he is going to absolutely love working in Heath's yard. Yeah, I'm really excited to be going down to Island Ops this year. Exactly, Paul. Exactly. The more younger people we get, the more we can rejuvenate the hobby, keep things going, get new layouts moving. Between what we're doing for the youngers to get younger people in, and what Ed's doing with the op squad up there, getting new people interested in operating, getting people the help they need to get their operating layouts up and running, getting them feedback, giving them test runs. All of that is exactly what's needed to keep the hobby growing, keep the operating side of the hobby moving. So we can always, as old layouts move on, new layouts get, come online and stuff like that. I can't wait till I have space to build a layout that I can have someone come over and run. But in the meantime, I've got JMRI and Virtual Ops, so I've got people who come over and run my layout via the internet. Who'd ever want T-Track? What's T-Track? I don't even know what that means. That's absurd. That's absolutely insane. I don't know what that even means. That's so crazy. I've never even considered what it could possibly mean to build a module that's only a foot or 2 feet long. That's absurd. Sean. Yeah, Sean, here's that double you sent me. It's all assembled. I have a video on it that I recorded. I've got to get the the video that's been sitting on my computer for about a month out first, but then I'll get out the video I made on that module and get that project started. So I'm incredibly lucky for Ops Till You Drop, because I just get to stay with my brother, because he's at SUNY ESF right there in Syracuse. So the only thing that I have to pay in order to stay up there for Ops Till You Drop, right, is basically I got to get my brother a meal one of the nights. Other than that, I just get to hang out, which is incredibly lucky. Actually, yeah, that could, well, I guess it depends on how late on if your Friday or Saturday night session runs late, and I guess you probably won't be joining us for breakfast then, Paul. But yeah, I guess you are close enough that that's theoretically possible. Yeah, I would love to. I would absolutely love to. Last year when I was up there, I didn't really get the chance to do much rail fanning, because I didn't really know the area too well, and I was staying at my brother's dorm. Well, that would be a very early morning for you then, Paul, because I imagine it's about an hour and change from where you are to Cuse. And I think breakfast starts at 8, so. But I would absolutely be down, ready to do some rail fanning. Of course, I don't mind you lurking at all. I don't mind you lurking at all, Sean. After all, that's more or less what I do on your streams while I'm at work. Yeah, sounds like fun, Ray. I don't get rail fanning nearly as often as I would like, mostly because when I have the time for rail fanning, I also usually need time to just chill. But there have been some occasions where I've gone out and rail fanning. Yeah, at the wet yard. Gotcha. Let's see, what's the most... I think the most recent time I've gone out rail fanning still. Well, I guess it depends on what you count as rail fanning. Because I was trackside for a little while yesterday. Yeah, I guess so, right? I was trackside for a little while yesterday. I stopped in at the Kingston Model Railroad Club while I was at the Kingston show, or after I was at the Kingston show. I gotta reset my camera. I just realized I'm like working way off screen. But the Kingston Model Railroad Club is situated in what was at one point a New York Central paint shed. And I mean that literally. It's not like a shed where you roll cars into and you can repaint them. No, it was a building where they stored tools and paint buckets and brushes and things like that for touch-up jobs. If anything was ever needed to be touched up in the Kingston yard. But in the 30s, they leased that building to the train club, and in 69, when Penn Central was selling off, I think it was actually 68. It was before the merger, so maybe it was even 67. New York Central was looking to offload a bunch of properties and stuff to prepare for the merger, to kind of downsize their physical plant. And they sold the building to the club. So the club now owns this former New York Central paint shop, and they've expanded it a few times since then. But it's a pretty nice 2-rail O-gauge layout. But they're about 50 feet back from the water level, or not the water, the West Shore line on CSX. I saw a northbound rack train and a southbound mixed freight, but I wasn't shooting. I was just enjoying the show. The last time I went out and actually shot anything was when I went out to see the Metro North 222 in the New Haven Heritage Scheme. But yeah, I saw that video, Paul. That was a nice looking train. You call it. But yeah, I cannot wait for Ops Till You Drop, and like I said, I'm gonna be double dipping with your good friend there, Paul, Mr. Ed O'Connell. He talked me into Island Ops as well, so I'll be double dipping through the month of. Well, into the month of June? May. Into the month of May. Had a moment there where I couldn't remember what month it was and what month it was going to become and what month it's going to... But I will be double dipping, which is going to be a lot of fun. Seven layouts in 2 weekends is going to be quite a lot. Yeah. I'll bet. Alright. Yeah, it's quite far from its home territory. Where did my phone go? Oh, it's over here. How did it wind up on the floor? I couldn't tell you how my phone wound up on the floor there, but it's here. I wanna watch that train again, Paul. Yeah, it is quite the drive. I'm very lucky in that Ed offered to basically, as long as I could get onto the island, Ed would pick me up, drive me around the island. We're bunking together, and he's gonna drive me back north. So I'm incredibly lucky about that. But yeah, I just have to basically, my plan is Metro North down to Grand Central and LIRR out onto the island from there. And then figure out coordinate with Ed where and when I gotta meet him. But yeah, that's true. That is true. Very true, Paul. When you get down there for a game, you gotta be sure to let me and let Heath know, and maybe we'll have to get to Heath's place. That he is. It works very well. Yeah, I was talking with him about how to get down there, and he was saying he was gonna come down and just stay on the west shore all the way down, which absolutely makes sense until he crosses into the city. So it wouldn't make sense for him to pick me up, but he could figure out whatever to get me back north. So Paul Stamps Finger Lakes Railway. I want to watch that Oh, was that on your... I was on your social media, wasn't it? There it is. Yeah, of course, yeah. If you're... Yeah, if you're with the yep, yeah, I got it. I couldn't remember where I saw it, but yeah, it's here on your Instagram. Yeah, that was a nice train. That fake bonnet up front, I'm sure, had quite the was quite the attention grabber. But yeah, if you're down with you know, Mets buddies, absolutely stick with them, you know. But if you ever happen to find yourself with tickets to a game and no one to hang out with, I'll see if I can pick up some game tickets and go see a ball game and hang out with Heath with you. always down to go see the Mets game. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm switching over. I'm switching over from video to photography, but I still do a lot of video of one-to-one. I don't know why I focus so much on video. Especially because the camera that I have is primarily a photography camera that happens to have a video feature. But whatever. That's just what tickles my brain, I guess. Get just a little bit of rust on these trucks. And we got a couple spots here. I don't know. With the number of people from the Philly area, I don't know how good of an idea that is. Yeah, you gotta find a Mets Phillies night. Then we can have an MTP meetup and wind up getting into several altercations. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really kind of upset. I mean, I was pretty busy last season, but I didn't wind up making up to a single game at Citi Field, I don't think. I might have made it to one game like early in the season, but I really don't remember. So this year I'm planning on changing that. Can't wait. LGM. Just get a little bit of rust on some of these rivets here on the door. That's tasteful. I like that. We'll put just a tiny little streak down from either side of the door rail. Even that's a little too big, I think. Yeah, that's better. This is looking like it will fit right in on, it's looking like it's going to fit in perfectly on my house layout right now. So. Oh, wow. That's quite the goal. Yeah. I think I'm at... I'm trying to think. How many baseball stadiums have I been to? Like major leagues. Not many. I think the two that been to were Shea and City. Well, that's not true. I've been to... why can't it... Why is... This ADHD brain with the blanking of the memory thing. It's really getting me tonight. What's the ball field in Boston? I know I visited there once. Not to see a game, just to... see the stadium. I've been through Yankee Stadium, if that counts. Riding the riding the Metro North train. Been through the Yankee Stadium Fenway. Thank you. I've been through the Yankee Stadium Metro North stop. But yeah, I just visited Fenway Park when I was in Boston visiting. It wasn't a game day. We just went to check out the stadium. Because even if it is a Boston baseball stadium, it's still a baseball stadium, and it's still neat to see. But yeah, I think that might be it. Oh no! I was at the. Yes, that is very true. I went to the stadium in Cleveland when I was very, very little. Because my uncle was in med school in Cleveland. And we went out to visit him one time. We went to a ball game. And I have no clue what the stadium in Cleveland is named. So I'm not even going to bother pretending like I know. But yeah, if I do wind up living there, then I will be certainly catching some games at Fenway. Yeah, I don't really remember Cleveland very much. Because, like I said, it was when I was I think I was 4 or 5 or something like that at the time. So I remember that it happened. I remember more vividly getting car sick while we were almost at my uncle's place than I remember going to the ballpark. So okay, that is pretty good. Oh, I need to get some grime on the roof. No dirt on the roof. We're gonna do... Well, let's get a little bit of rust on the car end as well. Not even. It was when we were first getting to Cleveland. When we were on our way out there to visit him at very first, before we even got there, that I got car sick. I think it was just too much looking at the book and motion sickness. Because that was the time in my life when I would just stare at a book for hours on end, and sometimes when I was in the car that would cause some really rough reactions.
I'm not sure which message you're trying to unsend.
I'm not sure what I'm trying to do either. Watch, why are you talking to me? That's odd. Alright, a little bit rust here. Oh, that's the wrong brush. This is the right brush. A little bit of rust on the brake gear, and that's good. Let's flip it over. Let's give it a good, healthy coating of dirt on the underside, and a little bit of rust on the brake equipment. Yeah, it was all right though, Paul. I wound up being fine. I just, especially when I was little, I got some pretty bad motion sickness when I was in the car, especially for a long period of time. And that was, I think we did that over 2 days, that drive, because New York to Cleveland is a solid 9-hour drive, I think, roughly. So, at least downstate New York to Cleveland. For you, it's probably, what, like 5 hours or so? So, much more doable in a day. Although I suspect with littles, it would still be quite the haul. 4-ish, yeah. Nowadays, we've done it because my aunt and uncle and their kids, they bounced around for a while, but they've landed back in Cleveland again. Exactly, yeah. It is doable as a day trip, but much nicer if you do it as a weekend. Which is why I'll tell you drop is doable for me, because it's about 4 to Cuse for me. And that's why if I ever go up to visit my brother, I'm gonna absolutely take advantage of the fact that I'm up there for the whole weekend and reach out to Drew and Bill and probably see if I can get out to Ithaca and see Bruce's and anything like that. So, but yeah, when we went out there to when we went out there to visit more recently, because like I said, they landed back at just outside of Cleveland. We did it in a day, but it was like that was the day, and then we spent the rest of the we spent a week out there, I think it was, or the better part of a week, and that was it was a travel day, and then it was to spend time with family for the rest of the week. But they've got a beautiful house now there, outside of Cleveland, to the south and east, right on the lakeshore, which is pretty amazing. All right, so let's finish the job here with some soot powder. I think I'm going to use my foam brush for this job. A lot of that's going to go on the roof to just kind of dull it down. And then I'm going to brush a bunch of it off. There we go. It's been just about an hour. Perfect. I got the timing just right. I was planning on only being there around a thank you. Don't worry about it, Paul. I'm glad that that you say it's coming out good. I'm very happy with how it's coming out. It's been a while since I've done a pure powder job. But especially for the lighter and more kind of dirty cars rather than like grungy, rusty cars, powders are the way to go in my experience. Powders or airbrushing, but well, we all know my airbrush situation, which is that I've got a brush, I've got a cardboard box, and it's pretty chilly out to be opening the window. So, but yeah, powders are definitely, in my experience, the way to go for this style of weathering job. There we go. I like that. I'm quite happy with that. Some soot around the top of the car here. That's really nice. I like that. That came out good. I did not taco sauce the panels, actually. That's all the powders. The powders do a lot of the same things as the taco sauce, because it just kind of grabs and defines, especially when I'm doing real light with this soot powder. At least this Bragdon powder. This Bragdon powder stuff is, the Bragdon Enterprises powders are incredibly fine, and they will just grab those highlights real nice. And that's exactly what I am wanting to do. Hit that panel just a little bit heavy. That's okay. There we go. All right. That came out amazingly. I want to hit the door a little heavier with the soot. I thought about saucing the car first and then starting on everything else, but I was like, I kind of want this to be a pure powder job, because powder jobs are fun. They're easy. When you're working just with weathering powders, it's all about how heavy or light you apply the powder. That's 100% what it comes down to. So which brush do I want to use? This brush to kind of clear off just a little bit of this excess powder. I should do a tutorial on my channel here on powder weathering. Let me get a little more. Let me get a little soot on the underside of the car here. So I want to really pull that down. Do I have another foam brush here? I know I do. There it is. Use the foam brush to just pick up a lot of this extra gunk. I want to add a little more on this side now to make it match on either side. Yeah, I do the quick and dirty way of fading, which is just everything gets faded with white. But luckily white works pretty well on brown. That's what a lot of stuff is. I've got to dig a little deeper into the color wheel and color matching for proper fading. Like actually adding, you know, what's opposite on the color wheel to get the pigment fade accurate, but my way seems to work just fine for the most part. It's just a little quick and dirty. Yeah, I get that, Paul, for sure. There was a while there where I wasn't really doing any weathering, and then come January, I jumped back into it and really hit the ground running because I had a bunch of stuff that I wanted weathered in time for Amherst, and then I just kind of went from there. I've also still got to wrap up this guy. Where did it go? There it is. This guy is, I think, might be the next week's weekly weathering and more, because this car, I think, is done. Oh. I didn't soot this side of the roof. I'm glad that I noticed that. That would have been awkward. Let me properly finish this car, and then we can talk about what we might do next week. Next week is going to be one of two things, and it's all going to depend on what I get done this week during the week, and what I decide to get done this week during the week, and so on and so forth. But I might decide to jump back to this guy. This is the one that this is the car that I started for the train-a-thon. This, actually, I think I still have the reference image here. Is it this one? No, this one? Yeah, there it is. There's that reference image next to the car itself. I'm super happy with. So, this was the side I did on the opposite job. No. The train-a-thon stream. And I took special care to get the get my white backdrop back here. Whoa, washed out. There we go. I took special care to get the stencil overspray around the numbers, because that's visible in this prototype photo. And I was like, that's a cool effect. I want to see if I can do that. And lo and behold, it was actually very easy for me to do with oil paint and masking tape. But there's the other side. And I didn't put the masking tape over the numbers, but I did around the Conrail stencil. So you got some overspray around those, which is hard to pick up in the camera here. But, you know, all the rust dots and streaks. But now, the ends and the roof look absurd. So, those have got to be finished up. And that's easily doable in a night. Thank you, Paul. I am super, super hyped with this. And I will admit, this car is extremely easy from a prototype perspective. Because, one, heavy weathering is a lot easier to do than lighter weathering. It did come out amazingly, but in general, it is still difficult to do heavier weathering. And not overdo it, but do it just right. But it's generally easier to heavy weather, because if you screw something up, you can always go over it just a little bit. But all these patches, these were on the car when I bought it. This is Eastern Seaboard Models car, and Brian Busey there does a really good job of, when he makes a car, for the most part, he uses a prototype photo for that car number to make the car. So for this one, with the patches, that's where the patches came from, was from the prototype photo that's on the screen here. And then just extrapolating that around the car. So on the other side of the car, there may have only been some of these patches, but obviously when you only have a picture of one side, you kind of extrapolate around. But so those patches were already done for me. But it is a very nice looking car, and it's going to stand out very nicely in a consist. But that's not for tonight. That's for another week. So let me get that put. Where did I just put the box? There it is. Let me get that put away. So next week might be finishing that up, and or potentially, I'm not certain on it. So, but I'm being kind of hesitant. But I might start working on the kit that Joey gave to me at Springfield for his N scale warehouse next week. Because that module that I was showing off for Sean, that T-Track double module, that's... Whoa, where am I? There we go. You can kind of see it up there on my bed. That guy right there, that is going to become my sort of appreciation module. So, that's going to be, I'm going to have Joey's sticker and his kit on there, and I'm going to have Sean's logo, big and proud on the front there. Really make sure to white it in before I black out the rest of the sides and stuff. So that'll be super fun. But yeah, it's the same for me. Paul, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed following me along as I got this 50-foot boxcar weathered. Ray, I know it's not a high cube, but hopefully it meets with your standards. Sean, absolutely. My goal is to get this RS3 video that's been sitting on my computer up tonight or tomorrow, and then I can start editing together the video of building your module, and we'll start that series. So hopefully that'll be up end of this week, beginning of next week, somewhere in that realm, but we shall see what actually happens when we get there. But that's my goal. So anyways, thank you all so much again for watching. Sean, Paul, Ray, Brandon, I was in here for a little while. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, chatting. It's always fun to be working and having some friends along for the ride. So I'm glad you guys are hanging out. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, that's going to be it for me for tonight. So with that said and done, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next track.